Hello. Huh. I didn't see you there. No, just kidding. I knew you were there. Someday that shtick will get old, but not today. What up? I'm Brendan with Bourbon on a budget. I recorded a instant rapid review reaction. What are we calling them? Rapid reviews? Rapid reviews. Sorry, I have too many podcasts. I can't keep up with the different titles and segments we have. So I just did one. Apparently, it did not record. I'm not drunk. I promise. I had a couple sips, but guess we're gonna have to do it all over again, huh? So this rapid review is a complete copycat, basically a piggybacking off of TJ and Ben's rapid review of Woodford Reserve Rye Luekens store pick. So it's a single barrel selection from Luekens, which is a Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater based uh, package store, liquor store. They do a really good job. Have a great selection. Always make it a must stop whenever I'm down in the area. Actually swung by there about a week ago. And so TJ gave me some samples. They already reviewed this, liked the Woodford Reserve Rye. So I'm going to go ahead and give it my own review real quick, rapidly, since this is a rapid review. I'll try to be quick with these, just a few minutes, give a score of A, B, C, D, F, or S for superior, which I don't think we've given an S yet. So it won't be quite the same as our normal bourbon big board scoring system. Again, faster, quicker. If I stop rambling, I might be done by now. So what I'm getting with the Woodford rye store pick here is a very grain heavy, grain forward, and not just rye. Normally, when you think of rye, you think of rye spice and pepperiness, and sometimes my brain says peanut butter, but that's not what I'm getting here. It's very musty, almost like hay ish, like in a barn, and not in an unpleasant way. It's just it's funky. It's musty and musky, and it's got a little bit of rye spice to it, a little bit of pepperiness, and some crisp lemon zest, a little bit of vanilla and caramel as well, which is kind of standard for whiskey, right? But what makes this unique and kind of stands out here is, and excuse my band-aid here. Oh God, I'm bleeding again. I massacred my finger the other day cleaning around the house. It's very dangerous doing domestic work, and yeah, it's still bleeding like 2 days later. It's a pretty deep cut. I'm just gonna say I'm pretty tough, pretty macho and manly. This is nice. Almost perfumey though. Is like kind of like a floral element to it. Yeah, very unique, very different. I have the Woodford, a little mini bottle of it, Woodford Reserve Rye, the standard bottling here, which I enjoyed. I got this for a really good deal from ABC about 6 or 7 months ago, and I've been trying to milk it because I actually enjoy it. Um, and that is we liked it when we reviewed the Woodford series of their bourbon, their malt, their rye, their wheated bourbon, and then the double oaked. Double oaked was really good and sweet, but the rye stood up, I think, above everything else. Certainly above the bourbon, and certainly above the malt, which is really funky. Now the store pick has a little bit of malty funk to it, which is interesting, but not to my recollection anywhere near as much as that nasty Woodford malt. Sorry, Woodford, you guys do a really good job, but that malt is. I tried to give it away to my neighbor, and Pat would not take it. No, so the standard Woodford Reserve Rye, which I just gave a quick sniff to, is very uh, vanilla, crisp, a little bit of pepper and rice spice, but more kind of, I don't even want to say standard rye because it's a very light rye, very refreshing rye. If you're new into rye, it's probably a really great introduction to it because, in my experience, and being someone who's still fairly new into rye compared to bourbon and scotch and other types of whiskeys, rye can be very spicy, can sometimes have notes of anise. I have to very enunciate that very carefully. Like have anise smell to it, or just very spicy, dill sometimes brininess, just things that you normally don't get with like a nice sweet bourbon, which has got vanilla and cherry and caramel, brown sugar. Rye could be a little bit more dramatic, which is why a lot of people like it because it's a amplified, slightly different version of bourbon. Um, so the Woodford Reserve Rye for a newbie is really good. Now this store pick I would say if you're new into store picks, if you want to say, hey, I like the Woodford Reserve rye, that was a really good introduction to rye. Now what's next? If you're near Luekens, I would check this out because the nose is very, very funky, very different, very unique, um, but still got some rye to it, and still got some of that Woodford Reserve rye standard elements to it. It just takes it to another level with a funkiness. Yeah, yeah, it's really good. So you get again that malty, almost kind of like chocolate malt ball funk to it, which is nice, but still vanilla, still a little bit of caramel, hints of pepper. The finish on this is really nice compared to, let's see, the Woodford standard. Yeah, the Woodford standard's vanilla, rye spice, caramel. It's pleasant, it's crisp, but it kind of just rides off quickly. Whereas the Lucan store pick, sweeter, but also spicier, fruitier. There's lemon zest, a little bit of orange peel, almost like a malt. You know, like a chocolate covered cherry with like a milk chocolate, like kind of like a maltiness to it. And the finish on it, man, is really really nice. So I I like the I like the Luke and store pick quite a bit. This is really good. Yeah. So on a scale of F to A, that doesn't sound right. A, B, C, D, or F. I think Ben and TJ gave this in the B range, and I think that's fair. I would go of C's average. Um, this is definitely above average. It's not going to change your world. I think it's a good introductory. It's a little light for me, a little thin in some areas, but for its proof in the 90 range and for being about $30, like, yeah, there's some nuance and depth and quality to this more than you would maybe expect, which is why you go for a store pick. It can be just a little different than the standard. In this case, quite different, like maybe 20 to 30% different. So I will give this a I'll give this a B minus. This is solid. It's a really good introduction into store picks to see how they differ from a standard release. Lucas did a nice job with this. It's very different, not super reminiscent of all of the Woodford Reserve rye. So if you want to see like what a store pick or a single barrel selection can do uh, to what you would think the standard whiskey is, yeah, Woodford Reserve rye by Luekens. Go ahead, check it out. It's very solid, reasonably priced. I think like $30 to $35. But again, different, unique, solid. It's good. All right. For Brewing on a Budget, I'm Brendan. We'll talk to you guys later.